So we're going to be going over some subtraction skills today, and let's start off with some basic subtraction. I'm going to show you guys something called the number line method, which I think is a really good way to help you guys understand and to give you some visualization of what is happening. Right, so we'll start off with easy example, okay? Just 9 minus 5. So you always, when you use the number line method, you're going to start with this bigger number here, okay? And we're going to find that number on the number line. So we're going to come over here and I'm going to go from that number. I'm minusing 5, so I got to go backwards by 5. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is my answer, okay? 9 minus 5 is 4. So you can do this with larger numbers too if you'd like. So our next example is 18 minus 7. So let's go over to the number 18 and I'm going to go backwards 7 times now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there is my answer. 18 minus 7 is 11. Now, for more complex ones, you can still use the number line method if you want, but something we need to understand first is how to subtract with tens. Okay, so when you're subtracting with tens, what you can do is you can sort of see a pattern happening, okay? 80 minus 10, I can just pretend the zeros don't exist for a second. So I'll pretend I'm actually just doing 8 minus 1. Which I know is 7, okay? And then what I do after is I throw the 0 back onto all of the numbers, okay? So 80 minus 10 equals to 70. Same thing happening here. 70 minus 10, 60. 70 minus 20 equals 50, yeah? So here we're pretending we're doing 7 minus 2. And if you want, you can do that on the number line, okay? 7 minus 2, bam, like that. So let's move on to a harder example, okay? We're going to combine the number line thing and we're also going to be subtracting by tens. So I'll show you how to do this by this example, 72 minus 51. So in this example, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pretend that I'm saying 72, oops, that turned out a bit big, minus 50, okay? Now, this time, my 72, that's not a 70, but I'm going to pretend it's 50, okay? And what I do is I'm going to do, sort of break it up, okay? I'm going to do 7 minus 5, and that's 2. And then I do the numbers in the one column, which is 2 minus 0, and that's going to be still 2, okay? So I've taken away 50 and now I'm at, what, 22. Okay, so let's go all the way over here. Okay, now we can't forget we were taking away by 51. Okay, I've only taken away by 50 so far. I'm still missing a 1. All I need to do now is I go from 22, I go back by 1, and what is that? That will be 21. If you want to check in your calculator, you'll also see that 72 minus 51 is going to give us the answer of 21. Now, the number line method is really great to help you understand and visualize what's happening, but it's not always the fastest thing to do, okay? So I'll also show you the traditional lining up method that we use. So let's start off with our nice easy example. If you remember from the addition, I said we had to line up the ones together, and then I line up the tens. Now, we always start from the back, so I do 2 minus 1, that gives me 1, and then I do 7 minus 3, that gives me 4, and that's my answer, 41. Right. Let's go into a harder example now. Okay, now here I've got 81 minus 38. In my ones column, the top number is 1. That's smaller than 8, so that can get complicated, okay? And here's where lining up is important, because I'm going to borrow a 1 from this 8, okay? So I turn this number here into 11, and this 8 is now going to be a 7, okay? So here I've got 11, and here I've got 7 now. So now I can do 11 minus 8. That should get me 3. Now here, it was originally 8 minus 3, but remember, I borrowed a 1, and now it's going to be a 7 instead. So I do 7 minus 3 now, okay? And that gets me to 4. Okay, now our hardest example yet. So we're going to have to really concentrate here now, okay? Once again, I have a number that is smaller than the one at the bottom, so I'll be borrowing a number from here. Okay, this one turns into 11 now, and I can do my 11 minus 8. That's going to be a 3. Now, this was originally a 0, which is already smaller, so that means I would always have to borrow a 1. Okay, so I'll do that first. If I borrowed a 1, this number becomes a 10. But it's not a 10 because I borrowed a 1 before. So now this 0, okay, is going to be a 9 down there, okay? Whoops. So I've got 9 minus 3 now. That will give me 6. Let's go here. I have an 8 where I borrowed a 1 to get this. So that would be a 7. 7 is smaller than 9, so I can't take away that instantly. I'm going to borrow the 1 here. So I'm now going to say it's 17. 17 minus 9 is going to be 8. And that's my answer, 863. Once again, I have some practice questions for you guys to try this stuff on. Okay. You can just look at my first example that we did together for the easy ones if you need help. The medium ones you should be able to do by looking at the second example. And the hard ones, I recommend that you look at our final example to check what's happening. Alright, enjoy.